Would you guys come on up? Come on. Now, before I interview you guys, are you hiding behind me? I want to share with you a dream that I had, I don't know, 8 to 10 years ago. I was standing up at the top of the Poly looking down where Kolau golf course is, where Poly golf course is, where First Presbyterian Church is. And to my left, I saw a lone Hawaiian warrior wearing an ikaika helmet. That's why I knew he was a warrior, because he had that helmet. And he was looking down at Kaneohe. And all of a sudden, the ground began to just move from the ground up. It was like a huge groundswell. And all these Hawaiian dwellings began to pop up all over the place. I mean, it was stunning. It was like a Hollywood movie. And then, out of the mountainside, I saw people of Hawaiian ancestry bursting out and busting out of caves and holes. And I knew at that time that the Lord was going to raise up the original stewards of this land to begin to be anointed to do amazing things, because they were the first to be here. And yet the enemy had so put them down through all kinds of strongholds down through the centuries that they weren't aware of what God wanted to do through them and with them, to call them out as precious sons and daughters. And so Mike and Jolynn, I think, are a testimony today of something new and fresh that God is wanting to do, not only with the Hawaiian people, but also with all of you. And this is what I'm praying for this morning, is that faith would arise in each of you, that you would understand after they share this morning that God will work through anyone, anytime, anywhere, and that there is not a separation between those who are pastors and those who are not pastors. That we're all one and the same, except that we have different functions. Our function is to train you and equip you to do the things of God. Your function is to do the things of God. But somehow we have all believed that the opposite is true, that we do the things of God and you guys watch. But God is switching that up, amen. Because He is beginning, and not beginning, He is doing a new thing here in the Hawaiian Islands, where all of you are going to be doing what Mike and JoJo did, because they weren't even trying to do it. Do you get that? You guys weren't trying to see, your relative healed up this way. So can you tell us first and foremost today what happened to you that morning about breakfast, and how that literally caused you guys to feel really junk? Because we want you to know something, that the lie that you need to have it all together, that you need to be feeling good about yourself, that you need to feel adequate about yourself, that God can't use you when you're in that state, it's a fabrication. It is a total lie. So tell us what happened over breakfast.
Okay.
Hold it up. All right.
Hello. Hi. Okay, so that morning we were home, and the prior night before, we got a phone call saying that my sister-in-law's sister attempted suicide. So we didn't want to go too early, so we went the next day. So that morning we got up, we needed to go to Kaneohe, and we knew that we were going to Pastor Rob's house. It was his birthday, in fact. And as we left Pastor Rob's house, we started grumbling. We started fighting about eggs and rice. So he asked me, he wasn't feeling well, so he asked me, where do you want to eat? So I said, I want eggs and rice. And he said, Jack in the Box. I said, there's no damn eggs and rice at Jack in the Box. And then so we fought.
I said, there's eggs, rice, and Portuguese sausage.
Rob's house to Jack in the Box, back by Pastor Rob's house, back to Jack in the Box because I didn't want Jack in the Box. I wanted eggs and rice. So he said, just go Zippy's. So I went to Zippy's. And so I went in, I got my eggs and rice. So I said, okay, let's go to Kevin's house.
Yeah, we ended up going to my brother's house. But during all this time, I've been sick for a few weeks. And that's why I didn't want to go to any restaurant to have eggs and rice.
So then you decide to go and pray for your sister-in-law's sister.
Yes.
So can you tell us why she committed suicide? Why did she try to take her life? And what happened?
Okay, so from what we understand, her son, prior to that day, came and beat her up. And she was already struggling with a lot of things. She had just gotten a grandson, and she wanted to spend more time with her grandson. So she had quit a lot of things. She was doing so well, almost 6 months clean. She wanted a new start, and then this happened. And it devastated her. So to her, that was the only way out.
So what did she do?
So she went behind, quietly, and behind there was a clothesline.
Behind the house?
Behind the house, clothesline. And she put the rope around her neck, and she attempted to commit suicide. So nobody knew where she was until her brother came. And her brother's like, where is my sister? They're like, I don't know. So they're looking all around. They walked out the back, and she was already hanging on the clothesline. So they cut her down. They don't know how long she was on there. So from that, they said that she could possibly be brain dead because they didn't know how long she was there.
So when you guys got to Queens Hospital, she was already hooked up to a bunch of machines, and she had been pronounced brain dead.
I talked to my sister-in-law yesterday before I came because I wanted her to make sure it was okay to tell them. I said, yes, she was possible. They don't know if she was yet. So they were in the motion to declare that, but they didn't declare it yet at that time.
And so when you got into the room, they were thinking about actually turning off the life support systems because it was so bleak.
So that when this happens, they kind of lower the temperature on your body to save the brain. So they were going to warm her body up and then slowly take off all the breathing, the ventilators, life support to see if she would breathe on her own.
See if her brain, she still had function in her brain. But before that all, they wasn't able to do the test because God answered the prayers.
So when you guys got in the room to pray, given what had happened on earlier over eggs and rice and Portuguese sausage.
We grumbled about parking too.
Okay. How are you feeling about yourselves? I mean, were you feeling revved up and ready to pray?
Not at all. Michael was sick, and I looked at him, and before we left, and I said, do you want to do this? Because you look really bad. And he looked down, and he said, I have to do this. We have to do this. So he was sick, I was angry, but we felt led to go. It didn't matter how we felt, we just said we gotta go.
So when you walked into that room, there were other people there?
Oh yeah. It was my sister-in-law, my niece, a cousin of theirs, and that was it.
And so did that exactly make you feel like wanting to pray more or less?
Yes. We're kind of waiting to see if they would leave for a little while. But they weren't leaving.
Are you more, would you say, a shy person or an extroverted person?
Very shy. Honestly, I don't like to pray because I feel that when I hear Michael pray or when I hear my friend pray, it just sounds so nice. But when I pray, it doesn't sound like that. So so I don't like to pray, especially in front of people. Because I sound wrong. I don't sound like I'm supposed to sound. Well, that's what I thought. You know, in my mind, I'm like, I don't sound like them.
So you went beside her, and what exactly did you pray? Because from what I understand, you prayed first, and then Michael came in second.
Yeah. So they didn't want to leave the room, so we said, let's do this. So I went first, and I told God, first of all, that we all make mistakes, we all make bad choices, and I didn't think that it was time for her to go there.
So you're telling God what's up?
Yeah. I'm telling God, you know, we all make mistakes, please, Lord, you know that. But I said, please bring her back. Please, can she come back and enjoy her grandson and enjoy the family that's here that loves her? And then I also said, if you don't bring her back, can she go to heaven with you? Because I didn't know whether she was going to heaven or not. So my two things was, if she's not coming back, can she go to heaven with you? And if she does come back, you know, let this be a testimony for a lot of people. Let this be known.
So then you left the room, and then Mike came in, or he came in with you.
I backed up, and he went forward.
And Mike, what did you pray?
I just prayed to the Lord. Her family, they grew up spiritually at the First Assembly of God in Kong. So I just told, you know, I prayed, Lord, Bobby Joe, the Lord knows you, and you know that. And I just asked for the Lord to come in and comfort her at this time of, she was broken. So I just asked for comfort upon her, that you love upon her, you know, and let her know, you know, everything's going to be all right.
So then both of you left the room, and did you go back to your car and leave right away, or did you hang around?
No, we woke up. I came. Not woke up. My eyes woke up. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I opened my eyes, and then there's my father-in-law, my sister-in-law's father, standing, and my nephew came in the room. And me, I'm not one of those that pray in front of a lot of people, because sometimes, like, you know, we get the doubt in our mind about prayer is not answered, and something happens, like, you know, we feel like bad because, you know, God, nothing happened, yeah? And with that doubt in my mind, I was like, oh, no. Because I looked in the back and I'm like, oh God, if Lord God, if you want everybody to know you're there and you can do miraculous things, please hear our prayers. So we walked out the room. And we decided to go because I told my sister-in-law, we got stuff that we got to take care of today. I'm not feeling well, so we're going to leave. But we ended up staying for like a few minutes out by the waiting area. So as we sat down, here comes my brother's father-in-law comes walking out, tearing and crying. And he looks right at us, and he tells us, she's responding, she's awake, there is a God.
Wow.
And I'm like, thank you, God! I was screaming right in front of everybody. I wasn't actually, you know. I said, thank you, God. And then I got up and looked at my wife, and everybody started running towards the room. But I said, it's God's time to do His healing and His work upon us. So it's time for us to leave. You know, we wasn't there to take all the glory, but we're just there to give it to God.
So Jolynn is shy. She's wanting the mic now.
When we walked out of the room, I commented to Michael, I don't think I did a good prayer, but yours is good. And he turned around and said, every prayer is good. So it just kind of goes to show, you know, we're normal people. We fight every day, and he's sick, and I'm sick of him being sick. But prayer works, so we didn't call anybody right after.
All right, so share about how you messaged me on Facebook asking about, you know, what should I do? Or I think I messaged you first and said, you know, are you going to go talk to your relatives about what God has done and then say, you know, do you understand why God has done this miracle? And you're like, oh, you know, one of them was really hardened toward God and angry and whatnot. And I said, just, you know, ask questions, release hope, and encourage. and then something happened to you in the spirit.
Yes.
So could you share that?
So, the family that we're talking about has trouble loving God. A lot of hurts. Just would rather say, I don't know who God is, than to praise Him and do the works. So I received, well, we were texting back and forth, and I just felt a big surge come through my body.
Like a whoosh of
Yeah.
God's presence.
And I was sitting there and I was like, no, I don't want to do it. I was like, God. And first time talking to Pastor Rod, right, it's like more so I have to do it. So I
It's conviction of the spirit.
yes.
Yeah.
So I picked up my phone and I texted my brother-in-law and I said, I know you're going through a lot, but just pray, just know that God is always with you. Whether you want Him by your side or not, He's with you. So he texted back, and I didn't think he would text back. He was like, yeah, you're right, Jojo, but I'm so hurt. And he did the same spiel. And so I texted back. I said, you know what, Carmen, it's okay. I know you're uncomfortable hearing this kind of stuff, because you are. I know you are. But just know that God is always with you. And then he called me, and I was like, oh my God, now I gotta talk to him. I don't know what to say. What am I gonna say? So I answered the phone. I was like, hi, Carmen. And he just poured out. I mean, he poured out, and I was like tripping out first that I did it. And then the second thing is, now what do I do now? What do I do? And so he poured, cried, poured, and so I talked about God, and I talked about how we all go through things, not only him, but how important it is to take your family and to pray. So he kept going and going and going, and I said whatever I could say. And so I told him, you know, you're going to do me this one thing, please. When your wife comes home tonight, you take her and you pray with her. If anything you do, just do that one thing for me. Promise. He goes, I'll try. So he just visited him yesterday. Oh, in fact, the next day he posted a Jesus thing on Facebook, and I was like, yes! Because he never does that about restoration. So we just saw them yesterday, and he told me, we was in conversation, and he told me, guess what? I go, what? He goes, I prayed with my wife. And then the next day, he said, my wife prayed for me, and the next day I prayed for my family. And I was like,
So this is what's happening. The Bible tells us that we are the ecclesia. Say ecclesia. Ecclesia. That's a word for church or assembly, and it means the called out ones. We have been called out of darkness into the light to help others in darkness into the light. In the Bible, we see people going from oikos to oikos. That's not like a piggy noise. Oikos means house. From household to household. I believe in this new move of God that it's going to be families touching other families. And we're going to be seeing God do amazing miracles like this. And then as a result, we're going to not infiltrate, but because we have relational authority or favor with our families, that we're going to be able to go in behalf of Jesus and share the gospel. Isn't that amazing?
well,
So,
there's one more thing as well.
oh yeah,
I say,
okay, sure.
While I'm on the mic, I'm getting too nervous. You can say that. When we first did this, we were overjoyed. But then right after, we were like, nah, it was timing. We were doubting the fact that God could do this. A lot of people go through this. I mean, I see movies where miracles happen and then they start, oh, it was a hoax, or they wanted, financial, whatever it is. But for us, we experienced that because we kept it a secret for a few days because we didn't want people to think that we were telling a lie. Because the people in the room didn't come up to say, oh yeah, thank you, they didn't do that. But we talked about it and we realized that it doesn't matter what other people think. We know for a fact that she opened her eyes that day because we prayed.
Yeah.
And we believe that God is a healer and He does miracles.
Amen.
So don't ever think or ever let your mind think that it's nothing else but God.
Yeah. Good word.
Amen.
Good word.
No, this is
Joel, you may not get to speak
That's
today.
okay.
no, I wanted to get my wife to speak because every time when I speak, I don't know how to shut my mouth. To be honest. I like to talk too much. So. But there's when we went to my sister-in-law's house yesterday too, she's telling us a little bit more about her sister and because she's talking now with the family, so she speaks with the family. But you know, she also mentioned that they had a girl that jumped off the poly, and then that girl that jumped off the poly, she wasn't here to see the news or hear about it. She met the girl.
Oh, wow.
She met the girl with her, and
You mean in a dream or?
no, yeah, in the spirit.
Yeah, that's okay.
In the spirit, she's telling us this, and this girl that jumped off the poly, and we told her, "You for real?" Because the girl that jumped off the poly is my sister's friend's girlfriend.
Wow.
So she was with her, and then she also was with this other guy that got into a car accident, a motorcycle accident, and she was mentioning all these accidents and all these incidents, and one about one cook too. And how could she have known all this if she wasn't awake in the flesh? God had brought them all together and she spoke to them, but they all lived through their tragic accidents or whatever occurred to them. And today, all those that she has spoke are living.
Wow.
And that kind of shows us, there is a light and there is a way. Like maybe a waiting room to see God's going to say, okay, you're going to come home or you're going to go back. But your time here ain't done yet. You need to go out and let people know about the heavens and know what He can do for people. So He sends them back. That's what I believe.
Wow.
It's amazing. Let's give the Lord.
Thank you.
Thank you. So much, I think that was amazing.